Welcome back. In this section, we're going to be talking about some advanced topics in CSS, and I'm going to start off with the critical render path. What is that? Well, we always should know how things work underneath the hood so we can make our websites as fast and reliable as possible. So based on what we've built in the previous section, let's look at what's happening underneath the hood. We are going to our website, and ideally our website will be on a server, and I'll show you how to do that later on in the course. For now, it's just our computer, but let's pretend we have a server where our files are hosted. When we go to our website, we'll call it coolwebsite.com, we request the HTML file, and the browser now sees our HTML file. So it reads through this document, and as it's looking through, it notices that, oh, I need a CSS file here. So it goes back, makes another request, and says, hey, can you please give me a CSS file as well? The server says, yep, no problem. Let me grab that for you. Grabs the CSS file. And now it starts looking at both the HTML and the CSS file to try and figure out how the web page should look. But then it also notices that, hold on a second, I need some fonts as well. So it goes to this address and looks for a font. Again, the website now asks the website that the fonts are hosted at. In our case, it's the Google API, and it grabs the font file. Now here's the thing, while it's grabbing the font file, it could render the page, and rendering means displaying the website. So it could display the website if it only has the HTML and CSS, but it might not show up the text because the text is looking for the font file. So when we talk about the critical render path, we like to mention that CSS is a render blocking file. So you won't be able to render a web page until you receive your CSS. And sometimes if you have font files, you'll also have to wait for the text to render on the page. So keep that in mind when you build your websites. But what are some things that we can consider when doing this so that our websites load up faster? One is maybe to have our own font files. Another one might be that you don't want to make your CSS too big. If we had hundreds and hundreds of lines of code of CSS, well, the file gets bigger and bigger, and it's more and more that you have to transfer over the wire. One method that people have used, and you'll see often, is something called minifying your CSS. And if we open up a browser here, good morning. Yeah, it's early in the morning that I'm filming this. And CSS minify, what it does is you can enter your CSS here. You can see an example over here. So you enter this and you click minify. And what minify does, it removes all the white space. So everything is on one line, just really tiny together. So even though it's the same CSS, it technically makes the file a little bit smaller so that the number of bytes that you're sending over the internet is a lot less. And you'll see that technique used in JavaScript as well, and we'll talk about that in that section. But that is the critical render path, a path that a website takes to display something to the user. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.